We're further along in this bull run than at the beginning, that's just the reality. And XRP? It already made its presence known early in this cycle, running from around 50 cents all the way past 3. But here's the thing. That was only the warm-up. Even after those massive gains, the token is still sitting at levels that don't reflect its true value, especially when you look at what's coming next. The biggest near-term catalyst? The XRP ETF. Markets widely expect approval to come through as early as next month. When that green light flashes, institutional money will come rushing in, and with it, the momentum this asset thrives on. There's every reason to believe XRP will once again outperform as this cycle winds down, just like it led the charge at the start. It's the main character of this story, and it's the one everyone's watching. And speaking of new developments, let's talk about the gaming angle. XRP just gained its own gaming layer, opening a whole new chapter. Meanwhile, Litecoin has been tossing shade at XRP instead of innovating, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's check out what's happening with regulation. The SEC and the CFTC, two agencies that used to clash non-stop over who should control crypto, have finally teamed up. In a historic joint statement, they announced U.S. exchanges are cleared to move forward with spot crypto listings. That fight is officially over. Even the Federal Reserve is now directly engaging with digital assets. This October, they're hosting a conference where the focus will be on stablecoins, tokenization, and next-gen payments, exactly the areas where XRP has been building from the beginning. Institutions are quietly setting up for the next adoption wave, and the targets are clear: real-world assets, payments, compliance. XRP was literally designed for this. Now, back to the gaming update. This is huge. XRP has just entered the on-chain arcade era. A new Layer 3 network, called B3, has launched on top of the XRP Ledger ecosystem. It connects with the EVM sidechain and the main chain, powering a platform called Xcade. Think sleek arcade-style games you can play without downloading apps, paired with interactive earning powered by XRP. The project is backed by XRP Ledger Commons, which gives it legitimacy and serious potential. If gaming is one of the first use cases to scale globally, this could be a breakthrough moment for the Ledger. And about Litecoin, it's been making noise, throwing shade at XRP. But let's be honest, Litecoin hasn't been relevant for years. The founder, Charlie Lee, told everyone to hodl for dear life back in late 2017, then sold his entire bag within days, cashing out while preaching diamond hands. That move left retail investors holding the bag, and today Litecoin trades below where he sold. Sure, it still has volume and liquidity, but it's not going back to being a top 5 or even top 10 coin. Meanwhile, XRP continues to push forward with real adoption, partnerships, and innovation. The bigger picture here is that Ripple and XRP sit at the center of nearly every conversation, from rival chains to traditional finance players like Swift. Even when competitors or critics take shots, it's proof of one thing: XRP is on their minds, and that's because it's winning. Now, let's circle back to regulation. The SEC and CFTC coming together marks the end of years of turf wars. Their joint stance confirms that exchanges can legally list compliant spot crypto products. Combine that with approval expectations for the XRP ETF next month, and the timing couldn't be better. Major exchanges, from the NYSE to NASDAQ to CME, are now positioned to support crypto. That means investors will finally have legitimate, transparent avenues to gain exposure exactly what this market needs. And while we're on the topic of protecting your assets, Ledger is running a deal right now. Buy their hardware wallets and get bonus Bitcoin. Whether it's the Ledger Stacks or the Nano X, you get free BTC, and of course you can swap that into XRP or whatever you want. The point is, self-custody is king. Don't leave your crypto on exchanges. Now, about the Fed, they're not ignoring crypto anymore. Their upcoming Payments Innovation Forum is all about the future: stablecoins, cross-border settlements, tokenization, and AI integration. That's the very blueprint of the XRP ledger. Everything from efficient international payments to tokenized financial products, stocks, bonds, real estate, even gold is moving on-chain. Chains that can deliver real-world solutions will be in high demand. XRP is positioned right in the middle of that conversation. So, what are the core drivers of the next institutional wave? Stablecoins, tokenization, and programmable finance. Stablecoins are already flowing onto the XRP ledger, with assets like USDC and RLUSD leading the charge. Ripple has been focusing heavily on tokenization and real-world assets, something the XRPL was designed for from day one. This isn't chasing hype, it's fulfilling its original purpose. Combine that with programmability through the EVM sidechain and upcoming mainnet updates, and the ledger is set to handle exactly what institutions need. Now, let me address a common question. Should I buy more XRP at 3 if my average buy-in was 25 cents? Here's the way I see it. Profit is profit. If you believe XRP is going higher, adding at 3 isn't necessarily a bad move. Personally, I bought heavily between 18 cents and the last day XRP traded on Coinbase in early 2021. At a certain point, I chose to diversify into other assets instead of raising my average. But if you're confident in XRP's upside, buying at 3 can still make sense. It all depends on your strategy. And here's another major development. The XRPL identity stack is going live. Decentralized IDs are already active, credentials are rolling out, and soon we'll see permissioned domains and DEXs. This is critical because institutions like BlackRock, or even Ripple itself, cannot transact with unknown or unverified parties. Compliance is non-negotiable, and this identity layer ensures vetted participants can operate in those institutional pools. For everyday users, the open DEX remains available, but for institutions, this unlocks the ability to engage safely and legally. That's why I believe not only will BlackRock launch an XRP ETF, but they'll also leverage this very tech for tokenization. Ripple recently shared their outlook. By 2030, they expect 10% of global assets to be tokenized. That's massive. We're talking trillions of dollars in real estate, stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, all moving onto blockchains. If XRP captures even a meaningful slice of that 10%, the value of the ledger and Ripple's role in the ecosystem will skyrocket. Right now, tokenization is still small, but in 5 years, it'll be unavoidable. And XRP is perfectly built to meet that demand. So, the writing's on the wall. The bull cycle is maturing. The ETF is on the horizon. Regulatory clarity is arriving, and XRP is at the center of the most important trends: payments, gaming, stablecoins, tokenization, and compliance. The stage is set. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crypto Labs News for more.